Good morning and welcome to the virtual space of Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. Grateful to be here this morning. My name is Jamie Lula, and we are the Harvest. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the love that we seek. We are the seeds we are sowing. We are the harvest we reap. Oh, we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the love that we seek. We are the seeds we are sowing. We are the harvest we reap. Oh, I am that I am. 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 We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the love that we seek. We are the seeds we are sowing. We are the harvest we reap. Oh, we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the love that we seek. We are the seeds we are sowing. We are the harvest we reap. Oh, I am that I am. 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 We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the love that we seek. We are the seeds we are sowing. We are the harvest we reap. Oh, we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the love that we seek. We are the seeds we are sowing. We are the harvest we reap. We are the harvest we reap. We are the harvest we reap.
How wonderful. I love the lyrics to that song. It's so true. We are the harvest that we reap, which is a result of the seeds that we've planted.
Not hearing you.
You're not hearing me. Uh-oh. Well, I know the rest of you are hearing me,
I
correct?
can hear you now.
Now you can hear me. I can hear you now. Anyway, I was saying I love the lyrics to that song because indeed we are the harvest that we reap because we are also a result of the seeds that we plant.
Amen. So true.
So, what a joy it is to share this time with you, the recently honored, indoctrinated Reverend Dr. Jamie Lula.
Thank you.
So, I think we all are here to give you a round of applause and to acknowledge you on that well-deserved honor from the Centers for Spiritual Living.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a beautiful ceremony out in Palm Desert. Yeah, I was weeping a lot.
Good. Weeping is good in that context. Well, on behalf of those who have benefited from the gifts that you share through your ministry of music, thank you. And once again, well deserved. And I'm so happy that you're here with us today at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, sharing that light and those gifts. So we're going to have a really fun time today.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So we're going to say adieu to Reverend Dr. Jamie for just a moment, and he'll come back on after we move through this first phase, and he'll give us great music, and we're going to join in conversation later today in our service and just have a really wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. So we'll see you in a bit, Jamie. So I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and I'm the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And I love having this time together with each and every one of you, and having each and every one of you join us in this virtual space as we come together on this day, April 10th in the year 2022. To honor the power of the divine that exists within each and every one of us. Without further ado, we're going to open up with our morning ritual this morning and anchor ourselves into the awareness of the spirit that exists within each and every one of us. And so let's do that together. I invite you to open yourself up and to anchor yourself into the power and the presence of the divine that exists by means of you. Our visioning statement here at the Center for Spiritual Living is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. That is the purpose and the intention for us coming together this morning. As we open today with our morning ritual, I invite us all to open to this ritual called Calling in the Light. And I want to begin with it today so that we may each open ourselves up to a greater awareness and participation and promotion of the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths and all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. And so the purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering a more conscious awareness of our oneness and a remembrance that the light of the divine exists in and as all sentient beings. And so as we light the candle metaphorically and see the flickering flame on the screen, we choose the quality of light today as we call in the light. The founder of the science of mind, that which we practice mostly here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, Dr. Ernest Holmes says this in regards to light. In flashes of illumination, the inspired have seen into the very center of reality and have brought back with them a distinct impression of what they've seen and felt. A glimpse of this reality illumines the whole being with a flood of light. It's for this we light this candle today and for all sentient beings. Breaking down the word light, light, as we just addressed by Dr. Holmes, represents the first letter, L. Looking at the second, I, which stands for illumination. It's stated in the book The Science of Mind, illumination is referenced as inspiration, reaching a cosmic state in a direct contact with the divine. G stands for God. Here in this philosophy, faith, and way of life, God is known as an impersonal, infinite, universal, all creative power. Synonyms for God are love, wisdom, intelligence, source, the first cause, the principle which is dependable, and the absolute. Moving to H, which stands for healing. In metaphysical terms, healing is a mental activity which means mind healing. Dr. Holmes tells us that healing is a revealing of the spirit, the life force within us. To heal makes whole. So this revelation is that of wholeness. Moving to T, T stands for truth. Spiritual truth, that which is, the reason, cause, and power in and through everything. It is the birthless, deathless, changeless aspect of life. It is perfection and it is wholeness. Wholeness through healing is what we focus on here today. You will notice that the colors on our slide are that of the Ukrainian flag. We encompass all of this to focus on this candle as the healing candle, as we hold for the Ukrainians and all involved in these horrific activities on planet Earth, including the Ukraine. Let's each take a moment right now and think of these individuals and anyone that we'd like to put into the healing light, which includes ourselves and all the children of the world, so that they may all experience the eternal and everlasting light of the divine. Let's all know together that peace exists. The acronym for peace is Purposeful Energy Activates Conscious Evolution. And you and I get to participate and reveal this conscious evolution as peace when we choose to have it in our lives. And it's from there life begins to be different. Our prayer today is a prayer for protection. And let's see it as the affirmative, not supplication. And we've used it the last 2 Sundays, and I'd like for us to continue to use it today as we speak it for all those being affected by anything in the world that is less than perfection and wholeness. And it's this: the light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. And the presence of God watches over me, for the mind of God guides me. The life of God flows through me. The laws of God direct me. For the power of God abides within me. The joy of God uplifts me. The strength of God renews me. The beauty of God inspires me. Wherever I am, God is, for we remember we are one family. Jamie will come on now and guide us through our song, Calling in the Light. The lyrics of this call and response song are on the screen.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. I am love. I am peace in my heart. I am free. I am spirit. I am soul. All together we are whole. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love.
And so it is. Thank you, Jamie. Beautiful. So wonderful. I love that rendition of Calling in the Light. It was stirring.
Thank you. Thank you. I
You're
love
welcome.
that song. I love hearing Andy sing it too.
I know, it's so wonderful. So wonderful. So I just want to take a moment and welcome everyone here today. I threw things up in the air a little bit by doing the ritual first because I wanted us to set the tone for our time together today. If you're new with us here today, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. We're a community that's been in Los Angeles for a little over 30 years now. We've been meeting virtually for the last 2 years in this space of staying connected as a community so that we may live by the principles of the teachings of the science of mind, that there's oneness, there's wholeness, there's perfection, there's completeness that exists by means of you and by means of me, that we're here to support all individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so I invite you today to be open to this experience and this expression of life is as a being of wholeness, of completeness, just as you are, knowing that where you're at in this very moment is the perfect space to be, to experience and to express that wholeness, your divinity. We are a community that honors and acknowledges all expressions of life, all genders, all physical expressions, all races, all sexual orientations. We stand with you, and I want you to know, as our board of directors community says, that we welcome one and we welcome all. And so know that just as you are, perfection exists. I'm so excited about our time together today. The recently indoctrinated Dr. Jamie Lula and I are going to play in this field of creativity, of communicating and using sparks for conversation as well as music. Jamie will sing a song for us that'll further the conversation as well. Our theme for the month is It's Time for a Spring Awakening. And Jamie sang a song earlier this morning in rehearsal that was really all about planting seeds. And I love this quote that spring represents a new day. It's a dawn in the wheel of the year. A new sun is rising, life is waking up in the warm sunlight, and your spirit feels ready to make a fresh start. And all week, or the last 4 days, have had to remember that with the beauty of spring also comes a substantial amount of pollen. And the pollen and the pollen hasn't really been a dear friend of mine. And last night there was a skit on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if any of you saw it. Several of the characters were flowers in a garden, and then there was the gardener that was there, and then the honeybee came to do his business with the flowers, and then the dog came and peed on the flowers, and it was all of this. All the flowers were reacting to all of this, and it was this really cute caricature of what takes place in spring, and we all have the options, including myself, to either appreciate all of the beauty or get sucked into the changes and the transformations that are taking place, with the changes and transformations ultimately all being good, right? And so anything you want to say about that, Jamie?
Well, what I love about what you said in your introduction was just that wherever anybody is coming into this space, if it's your first time, wherever you are, is right where you're supposed to be in your perfect, whole, and complete, just as you are. And it reminded me of when we used to teach a prayer class at Agape, the power of prayer. And Reverend Kathleen McNamara used to say, pray from where you can, not from where you can't. And
Say that again, okay?
pray from where you can, not from where you can't. And I love that because, some people will hear a spiritual mind treatment or something and it's like, what are they doing? It's like they can't wrap. It's like, well, I can't pray like Reverend Keith does, or whoever it is. Pray from where you can't. Sometimes thank you is a prayer. So it's all those seeds. And I grew up Catholic, so there were a tremendous number of seeds of prayerfulness within me already, and getting to this teaching and awakening to the more universal, infinite expression of God instead of the limited, narrow mind, we're right and you're wrong. So welcome whoever's here and who's ever new and who's ever been here a long time and questioned the power of their own prayer.
The concept of both prayer, and so let's address prayer in this philosophy, is prayer is an act of declaration, not supplication. And it's about the intent behind it is to align our mind, our thoughts, with the divinity, the power of the divine that exists within us. And then, as Ernest Holmes, the founder of the teaching, says, have the faith of God, not faith in God, meaning don't question or doubt whether it's going to work. Know that it works, that we are one with the universe, and the universe works, right? As I was falling asleep last night, as I'm prone to do, I watch interesting things or either play Rummikub on my iPad. And the interesting thing I was watching last night was the evolution of the eras of the Earth. And so it took back, billions and billions and billions of years ago when the Earth was very cold, before life came onto this planet. It tracked basically how life came onto this planet and the evolution of that. And that there were, I'm going to make up the number, but in essence, like 1 billion years or more when the Earth was pretty much frozen, right? It was frozen. And so what that sparked within me was, well, how freaking egotistic am I to think that this moment in time is really what it's all about? It's really all about being a conscious participant in the evolution of the species of this being, right? Of expressing the divinity. If what we teach is true, I say what in the context of we encourage everyone to question that, right? Mm-hmm. That if there is only one power, and I individualize that power, then that power that brought life to Mother Earth, and then the life forms on Mother Earth, which include me, isn't bound by anything prior to that, including Big Bang, and is not bound by anything to come. Therefore, my greatest use of the power is to live in this very moment, not hanging on to what was or what can be, just stay in the moment and consciously use the power to the highest degree possible, meaning what's the highest, most divine thought I can think. Right? What's the most highest and divine state of mind I can have, and then act in accordance to that.
What fascinates me is that I think that a lot of times, and I know for me, I'll just say for me because I know no one will be able to relate to this. When I got sober, I thought that was the magic. Everything's going to be great. When I got to this teaching, I thought, this is it. Everything's going to be great. And what I have come to realize that, when we talk about peace in our time, it's like as individuals begin to find more peace within themselves, that will pass on to future generations. I don't know that we'll see it on the level that we, the whole let there be peace on earth. It's like it's an evolution. Our lives are an evolution. I mean, who you were at 20, who I was at 20, I'm a very different man today, 42 years later, than I was then. And what my mission and what my purpose was then, what my mission and purpose is now in my life, has become a lot more of how can I be of service? How can I use me, God? But when back then, it was like, see me, am I enough? And it's like, it's our unique evolutions within, and we're all, like you say, in the perfect place, especially when we're in the moment.
Well, the only place you can be is in the moment.
True.
So the key is to then be conscious in the moment.
Yes.
You said you don't know if we'll see peace like the song Let There Be Peace. It's important to remember the lyrics to that song. Yeah. Lyrics say, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
Yes.
Right? Because we will never experience peace in the external world until peace becomes the reality in an inner state.
Yes.
My text for the day, I send out a text every day. It goes out at 7:30 a.m. prompt Pacific Daylight Time.
I get it.
And the one today said, peace comes within the soul of the humans when they realize their oneness with the universe, when they realize it is really everywhere. It is within each one of us. That was a quote from Black Elk, right?
Yeah.
So what we're called to do is to remember it, and then remember it, and then remember it. Marianne Williamson talks about building a faith musculature, right? So what if we were to all commit to building a peace musculature?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And every time that we're out of sync from being peaceful, bring ourselves back into it, right? Like doing a curl, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's right. So this peace. And I like to then use the acronym that I created, not just to pat myself on the back, but well, then what is peace? Well, Ernest Holmes says it's a state of inner calm. I like peace as purposeful energy activates conscious evolution, right?
Love it.
Because really, once we all step into where we're at, maturing in this teaching, just as you said you were doing, then what really is the objective? Well, the objective is to evolve consciously. That's the objective. We're evolving one way or the other. Gary Gukoff says there's either conscious evolution or unconscious evolution. Conscious evolution is far better than unconscious. Trust me, been there, done that, right? So that's what he says, right? So if we can evolve consciously, and we do that by tending to our state of being. That's how it works, right? So, and that is by then remembering that what we're called to is having spiritual practices.
Yes.
I know that you're married to one of the queens of spiritual practice.
Yes.
And you're so blessed to live with Susie, and she does that. But we all need to be our own practitioner of our spiritual practices and not judge ourselves either way. Like, just let it be, babe.
Right. Acknowledging the knots in consciousness and finding a way to bring compassion to ourselves for the judgment that we have running about ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like I forgive myself for judging myself. In this class that Susie's teaching right now, she talks about the knots in consciousness. The knots in consciousness from the moment and the knots in consciousness that are being passed down from generation to generation. And it's like if there's a knot in consciousness in the moment, chances are that it's something from our past, and it's being able to drop down and heal those knots in consciousness through self-compassion, through self-care. And what I was talking about earlier, the idea of thinking that getting sober was going to be the magic pill, getting to Science of Mind was going to be the magic pill. No, it's all the practices that we find in each of those endeavors that I do on a daily basis. It's like I can't do a curl once, do 4 sets of 8, and expect that to last a lifetime. It's a daily, it's creating that program, that daily meditation, the daily prayer, the moment to moment, stopping in the moment when I catch myself in my mind suggesting that I'm not enough, going back to, it's understandable that you could feel that way, and I am enough. I am more than enough. And it's daily. It's what I realize is this is the work that I'll be doing for the rest of my life, to remain present in the moment and to remain conscious. It's not something I do once. It's something that I do for my life.
And it's all evolving. So it's living out the vision statement of our center.
Yes.
Right? Supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
That is all evolving, right? I oftentimes will teach that we go higher in consciousness, but we do that only if we're going deeper into the soul.
Yes.
Right? It's like a slinky. It's you're going up and down at the same time. Speaking of judgment, I had a flashback of this morning. I was trying to get it together. My eyes were crusty shut, and I was trying to get some tea poured, and Sweetie wanted to go out earlier than she normally does, and I kind of knew that was going to happen, but I couldn't get it together. And she walks up to me, and she looks at me. This is my 4-legged spiritual offspring, for those of you that don't know, in the form of a boxer dog. And she puts her nose like up against my leg and then wiggles her butt and smiles in this little cute way. Like, oh, isn't it cute that I'm here? I said to her, go to the door. Like, just go, leave me alone. And she went to the front of the house and turned and looked at me. I heard myself say out loud, you should be thankful that I'm going to take you out. Stop judging me. And I thought to myself, Well, is she judging me? She looks like she's judging me. Or am I judging myself? Like, what's really going on? I thought, what the hell difference does it make? How about no judgment period? Just put her on the leash, right? Just
Send judgment.
so.
Send judgment.
Jamie, is there any song stirring in you?
There is a song. It's a Floyd Lula song we've written. We've written so much music in the lockdown. I'm so grateful.
So Gary Floyd and Jamie Lula, known as Floyd Lula.
Let the seeds be planted. Let the souls grow deep. Let the hearts be open. Let the willow weep. Let the Lord be glory. Let the love be felt. Let the joy be witnessed. Let the armor melt. My words can weaponize or heal the hate inside. I choose light in the darkness I see. I've fallen down on faith. I rise up, I awake. I know this path was meant for me. Let the sun keep rising. Let the light shine through. Let the peace keep growing. Let my soul see you. Let the world go global. Let the boundaries fade. Let the people be moved by not what they got but gave. My words can weaponize or heal the hate inside. I choose light in the darkness I see. I've fallen down on faith. I rise up, I awake. I know this path was meant for me. Teach me to be, teach me. One with the we, to be, teach me. Let the people worship. Let the Lord be chose. Let the difference whisper what the Spirit knows. Let the word be spoken. Let the love shine through. Let the peace within us dwell in me and you. My words can weaponize or heal the hate inside. I choose light in the darkness I see. I've fallen down on faith. I rise up, I awake. I know this path was meant for me. Teach me to be, teach me. One with the we, to be, teach me. Teach me to be, teach me. One with the we, to be,
teach me. To be, teach me. To be, teach me.
Oh, how lovely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just lovely and so creative. And I can hear both of your voices in that. Yeah. And the element of teach me is not, it's not inviting the external in to be transformative. It's to tune into the internal,
Right.
right? And then let it be the guide.
Yeah.
That's really what that is. And this class series that I taught recently, that one of the chapters was on listening to your inner guide, following your inner compass, right? Like, and not just as a theory. It was this particular book that I taught had 9 different experiments, and every chapter was an experiment. And literally for a week, the experiment was stopping and letting your inner guide you, your inner compass system. I think that so often we forget to do that because we're wanting to hold on to what we have and what we know, thinking that there may not be more to come. And yet sort of the theme of what we're talking about in life is that the journey, the nature of the journey is that there's more to come. And if we use spring as an example, its nature is that of renewal and restoration, right? And so today I would love for us to begin to look at that concept of planting seeds, of understanding that the power that we're talking about, this creative energy, is infinite by nature. The fact that you have experienced a new element of creation pairing with Gary, Gary Lynn Floyd, and so, I'll speak for myself, like, as we shared earlier, like I was really having some great hesitancy in regards to going back in the building next week. And this past week, there were lots of obstacles, and there are still going to be lots of obstacles that come our way in this journey. And I made a decision somewhere early in the week. Well, part of it was trying to get the music team together. And once again, thank you for all your help. But stopping and asking myself, what do I want? How do I want to show up on this journey? Right? And the minute that I kept reminding myself of that and choosing to be different, right. Not just know different, but to be different. And then the outcome was just magical and mystical and beautiful, and also felt perfectly right. And it feels like the universe has my back. This quote that I'm going to throw at you, and I found it, and I thought of you immediately when I saw it, is by Maya Angelou. And it's this: you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. It's exercising the muscle. It's exercising the muscle on a daily basis. It's, Susan and I used to talk about, because we do what we call long walks and deep talks.
Oh, I love that.
It started out as walks of intention, and we would pray during the walk. And the whole idea of that, the vibration of a prayer doesn't end.
No.
It's like when we put something out in consciousness, it's that vibration continues to go out when we're ready, when the internal clock is ready. It's like our prayers are answered, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. But that whole idea of pray without ceasing, it's like, we continue to pray on a daily basis, but the vibration of the prayers that we set in motion when we got together 25 years ago, are still in vibration and still activated within us. So the same thing with creativity. If I don't exercise it, but the other side of it is, I used to have, when I taught, students used to say, well, what do you do when you have a creative block? And I used to say, well, the truth of the matter is I don't have a creative block. I recognize there's another aspect of my creativity that needs attention. So I pay attention to that, And the same thing in my spirituality and growing and expanding. It's like sometimes trying to sit, in lotus position and whatnot in my meditation, it's like I get caught up in the thoughts. But when I go take a walk and I feel each step that I take and each breath that I take and I'm present, it shifts the meditation. It shifts my ability to tune into that. Same with prayer. It's just the constant practice.
Right. Well, yes. And a prayer, once again, in this philosophy, faith, way of life is, when I say declaration, it's not saying, oh God, please give me. It's saying, I have within me
Yes.
the avenue to the source of infinite creativity. Right now, I open up to that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And using the analogy of vibrations, which is so accurate and true, and I teach that as well, is that then those vibrations go out,
Yes.
right? They have to. I mean, whether you're wanting them to or not, they go out. That's the nature of energy, right? And so it goes out and then it returns. Now, if one gets caught up in the concept of, well, is my prayer going to manifest itself quickly or slowly, immediately you're, in parentheses, in quotation marks, blocking your good because you're wanting to control it.
Right.
The nature is it always responds.
Yeah.
Responds by corresponding. The answer comes. You just got to be open and ready, right? And to know that it is not bound by time.
Right.
So if we were to look at that video that I watched last night on YouTube about the evolution of Mother Earth, and it happened 4 billion, one segment was 4.375 billion years. It wasn't as if an alarm clock went off at 4.36 billion years going ding, 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 ding. In the next 0.1 billion years, you got to change. No. The changes happened as a result of something shifting in nature.
Yes.
Right? So that's the same for us. Nature is our teacher.
Yes.
And you're something. So let's use it from that perspective. It's spring, right? Right now we can look everywhere around us and see new growth. Right? I am an evolving gardener. And which is a real stretch, especially since I grew up on a farm and I've had many these relative to gardening. But I went to Armstrong Garden Center this week with a handful of leaves to show the guy that here are the problems, right? So that we need to fix. And he looked at all and he goes, well, the ones that have the dark fuzzy stuff on them, yeah, those are problems. He goes, but the ones that are yellow are in the process of turning green. Those are new. Like you want. I was like, green? They look off. That looks awful to me. And he's like, Keith, that's nature. That's just what nature does. And it was so eye-opening for me. And what it speaks to me, and I know is true for every one of us, no matter who's watching, where you're watching from, where you're at in the chronology of your life, is having the willingness to see things from a new perspective. Right? We teach in our teaching all the time. It's really about setting the intention for a change. That we're taught that inherent within the seed of intention is the fulfillment of its desire. So even when an obstacle comes our way, open up to what that could mean, or a block. There's a quote here from Jane Lee Hogan that says, sometimes what looks like an obstacle in your path is actually a gift meant to move you in a different direction.
Right. It's do I learn from my pain? Like the concept of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Do I learn from my pain, or do I continue to reenact it? Am I led by inspiration, or what is it Reverend Michael said? Am I pushed by my pain, or am I led by my inspiration?
Well, Dr. Hoyt says people come to their spiritual awakening either through inspiration or desperation.
Right, exactly. And that's, the truth of the matter is, like I said earlier, I grew up Catholic, praying to something out there. But what I realized is that from the time I was in second grade and took my first Holy Communion until I was probably 18 years old, I said 3 Hail Marys, 3 Glory Bees, 3 Our Fathers, and 3 acts of contrition every night before I went to sleep. No matter how stoned I was, especially in my teen years and stuff, I did those prayers. And then I realized that I had an epiphany. It's like God's not out there, God's within me, and we're not right and they're not wrong. And I didn't understand it, but I basically I left the Catholic Church, but I had a desire to know God. And then I got here, and I recognized what that statement, and I realized that all those years of praying, I had been chanting every night for, 18 years, 17 years, whatever it was. I had been chanting every night, and whether I was aware of it or not, those seeds were planted. And I didn't dig up those seeds to see if they were growing, if they were germinating. They stayed planted, and my desire to know God, my desire to not from a dogmatic place, but to understand what that infinite spirit of love within me wanted to create, wanted to express, and how it could serve through me. And I'm grateful for those seeds planted early in my life.
And we're grateful too, because you then took the fruit of those seeds, and then you spread it. I mean, you have touched countless numbers of people in your lives through your presence, through your being, through your music. And so the seeds then those seeds are out floating, soon to be germinated, right? And others. And so what a blessing and a gift that you awakened on your spiritual journey, because we're all on one, right? To find out what worked for you, what you could tune into vibrationally. Eckhart Tolle tells us that all spiritual teachings point to the possibility of finding something in you that is deeper than thinking, a space, a stillness that's always there. He says there is the presence that you are without which you couldn't perceive anything. I'm going to read that again. There is this presence that you are without which you couldn't perceive anything. You couldn't perceive this room, and you couldn't feel the body without the consciousness that you essentially are, which Jesus, by the way, called the light of the world. He said to his disciples, "You are the light of the world." And these disciples were not special people, they were fishermen. So certainly he wasn't telling them that they are VIPs. They were the opposite of VIPs, and yet he said, "You are the light of the world." He also said it about himself, but he also said it about others. And so you suddenly discover that essentially at the most essential level, the essence of who you are is consciousness. But consciousness isn't something you can say, there it is, because consciousness cannot become an object to itself. It's the eternal subject.
It's interesting being in this teaching, and I acknowledge you, because it's like there's a generation of teens that you brought your consciousness and your vibration to, that are out in the world now as a result of what you did. And I got to work with the teens for 12, 13 years, and you work with them since the Civil War, I think.
Yes.
And they are going out in the world, and they are making a difference because of the consciousness, and because you didn't try to lord it over them, if you will. You were authentic, you were real. And it's like teens can smell when you're not being real. They just detect it, and they know it. And it's like there's a lot of consciousness going on out there in the youth that we both got the opportunity to work with, that once again, it's morphing into something different than what we are even able to bring.
I had a conversation with one today who is this week, who is an Instagram influencer. And almost everything he does, I'm like, "Ugh, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like, do you not realize this has a permanent imprint on the world? Back in our day and age, it's on your permanent record.
Yeah.
And in talking to him, I realized I needed to get my bloated nothingness out of the way.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this is his gift, and that's what he's giving to the world. And I don't vibrate to it. I respect it, and I love him for it. And I know that he's touching literally countless numbers, even though they actually can be counted, but he's touching numerous people out there, and it works. I certainly have concerns about the methodology, but it's not done with ill intent. And so my role here is to step back into honor,
Yeah.
right? To honor, right? And so, yeah. Yeah. What's on your mind right now? Anything to sing or say?
Um, I was going to say something real quick because the picture came up from the Easter that I spoke over on La Cienega, or I sang for you on La Cienega, and William came for me, and you had him light the candles.
Your son.
My son William, and he's wearing my fedora hat, and holding my guitar stand and a cord, and kind of looking in the camera. It's from your church. It's from when we were over at the Masonic Lodge.
Right.
He's about to turn 20, Keith.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be 20 the end of this month. And, William was Dylan and changed his name to William at 7.
Yeah.
Mommy and Daddy, I would prefer to be called William. And it was like, at that point, it's like, this kid he's not to be trifled with. He's got a vision. He spent a lot of time in church. He spent a lot of time with, at Agape and stuff. And those seeds were so deeply planted. He's a really conscious kid. And while it appeared that he wasn't listening, these kids can multitask. He can have the TV on and be writing an essay and mixing and editing a film. It's like he's got that kind of thing. And it's that kind of thing. It's like the seeds have been planted. Let's trust how they were planted, So this is a song called We Are One People.
Let's all come together and sing this song when we are united and standing strong. There is nowhere than the heart we share with one another, no other there. We are one people, breathing one air, one human family that we all share. We are one spirit, come from one mind, one heart beating, one life, one heart beating. See our brothers and sisters in everyone. No one's outside the circle, no us and them. Embrace our differences, see what we can learn from one another. With love we have found. We are one people, breathing one air, one human family that we all share. We are one spirit and we come from one mind, one heart beating, one life, one heart beating. We are one people, breathing one air, one human family that we all share. We are one spirit and we come from one mind, one heart beating, one life, one heart beating, one life, one heart beating, one life.
Fabulous. Thank you, Jamie Lula. This was so much fun to play with you in this realm. I'm so appreciative of you.
Thank you, Reverend Keith. Such a joy to be with you too, my brother.
Yeah, and just keep on, keeping on, keeping on, keeping on, doing what you're doing, evolving and growing and sharing and loving and giving.
Amen. Thank you,
Yeah.
brother.
So keep doing it, brother. Love you.
Yes, sir.
What a joy it was to play with Jamie in this realm. So he'll come back and sing for us his our conscious giving song in just a moment, and I'm going to put on the screen the methods to do that. And know that as you support our community financially, it gives us the opportunity to grow and to be who we are. And that's the wrong slide. So where did that slide come from? While I'm pulling that slide up, just know that the way to do that is to go to CSL-LA.org, or you can go to our Facebook page, and that too will give you the opportunity to give. Or mail in a check. Our address is 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California. Once again, you can go to our page, CSL-LA.org, click on donate, and that'll give you the option to donate electronically, or you can mail in a check if you'd like. The number 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California 90069. All of this information is on our website, csl-la.org. Jamie's going to take us through our conscious giving song when we all take a moment to do that, which is Love Is My Decision by Daniel Namod.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give from my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision right here and now. Right here and now.
And so it is. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for being here today. Know that you're loved and celebrated and acknowledged. You're more than welcome to stay online with us. And afterwards, those that are on Zoom, we're going to chat. You're welcome to turn your camera off and bring it back on at that point, and go from there. And once again, thank you so much for being here today. So let me tell you of some upcoming events that are taking place for the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. Next Sunday, we go back into the building for a special event, a building which was our spiritual home at 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California. It's going to be so wonderful to be back in person for this one-time special event. Once we have this event, we'll see how it goes and then look at doing more of them. And so know that the objective is to be back in person more frequently than we have been. And of course, once is way more frequently than we have been in the last couple of years. But know that that's the case. There have been announcements and invitations that have gone out for that, announcements that we've turned into invitations. So we certainly hope you and your friends come that day. And we would love to have you all RSVP, if at all possible, for that, so we can know what that's going to look like. There have been changes in the building as in regards to accessibility. So just know that there will be a person there greeting and checking vaccinations and IDs. You must be vaccinated to come into the building. There are guidelines for that. Those are on the announcement that we've sent out. They will also be on our website. So please double check that, because we would hate to have people come that are not vaccinated or haven't met the criteria and turn them away. So I'm not going to read all of that to you, but it is on the announcements and it will be on our website. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. We have a wonderful musical team that's been put together for next Sunday morning. That's going to be a lot of fun for this one-time special event service. It's going to be a bit unique and different. That is featuring Arne Batson, our musical artist. She's just fabulous. And so I'm really, really, really excited about that. Please know that the service begins at 10:30, not 10 o'clock, 10:30, and we'll be out of the building by noon. Just so that we're all clear going in, there won't be coffee or snacks or pastries or anything of that nature. It'll just be come in, we'll have service, We'll have a great experience together, and then you can go have Easter brunch with your friends if you'd like to do that. The service will also be live streamed as well as through Facebook Live. So that's the case. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find all of my contact information on our website. Other announcements: that our Wednesday morning meditation continues. That also is accessible on our website, as well as our weekly e-newsletter that goes out. You can sign up for that through our website. A text goes out each morning at 7:30 a.m. It's called A New Thought for the Day. It's a 320 character text to help give each and every one of us a baseline, a foundation to start our day, to use as a touchstone throughout the day to remember who we are as spiritual beings and what we're here to do. We have made some changes in our social media presence, so please watch for those. We're really working diligently to update that social media presence so as to expand our following and draw in new people. A big thank you to Travis Smith for our audio technician today, and to Robert Hensley for our video, and know that you are both deeply appreciated and honored. A big thank you to all of you that were here today. If you're here for the first time, know that we welcome having you here. We'd love to have you come again and again. For those of you that are repeaters, know that you're loved with every fiber of our being. If you're here on Zoom, after we close out this service, you can stay on for a moment and we'll say hello to each other, turn our cameras on and do that, as well as I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding next Sunday. And we'll say goodbye to those of you that are here on Facebook. And so without any further ado, let's close out with a meditation spiritual mind treatment, the prayer, as Jamie was calling it earlier. And we'll get excited for the week to come. If you're in a space where you can close your eyes, I invite you to do that. Allowing yourself to anchor into the awareness that you have of the presence of the power. And as we inhale together and exhale, if your eyes are closed, looking into the back of your eyelids, that darkness, that space called the optic screen, let's see the word peace show up. Purposeful energy activates conscious evolution. And so I affirm for each one of us today that we are indeed evolving consciously. This is happening because of the presence that we have shared today in this experience called our Sunday service. There have been inspirations and messages, ideas and new thoughts that have been planted in our subconscious mind. We allow ourselves to resonate with these high vibrational spiritual truths, knowing that as we align ourselves with them, they emanate and move out into the universe, returning to us multiplied abundantly. And so we choose today as the day to be receptive to our good in a new way, because we've raised our consciousness in how we show up in life. We connect to that within us, which is deeper than thinking. It's a space, a stillness, a presence, a power, if you will. It's through this power that creation takes place. Creation is the experience, the act of creativity in motion. Being one with this power that is infinite by nature, we too then are creative. And so we allow ourselves to broaden our thinking, to open ourselves up to an experience of the presence in a new way, and be a conscious co-creator in the life that we desire. And we do this not out of arrogance or selfishness or greed. We do it as a result of a very clear understanding that that which we give in life multiplies. It's the way the universe works. And so today we give of ourselves, to ourselves and all sentient beings in a new way. Trusting because we know that we know that we know that we know that the law of life responds by corresponding. That is its nature. And so in honoring it, with great precision, we get our bloated nothingness out of the way and open up to the flow of good anew. For we are restored in our acceptance of the light that is within. And so we let it out. We let it shine. For not with arrogance, but with understanding, we are the light of the world. And so we shine it. And we shine it. And we shine it. Let it be. And so it is. What a glorious day together. Thank you all for being here. I look forward to seeing so many of you in person next Sunday. And remember to RSVP. If you have any questions, reach out to us. And have a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous day because you are fabulous in it. Thank you. And namaste.